Welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm your host, Tristen Stawicki. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. Join in with other high-vibe, lovely people as I unravel spiritual ideas to help create change and growth in your life. I cover a variety of spiritual topics, sharing knowledge to meet you wherever you are in your journey. As a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader, I help you understand how to make informed decisions and incorporate different modalities using discernment and your own intuition. Today, you will gain powerful shamanic healing tools you can use to incorporate spiritual practices in non-traditional ways. Whether you're just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Stay tuned. Musings and Modalities starts now. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm Tristen Stawicki, your shaman with an MBA, and I'm so excited for today's episode, Stepping into Your 2.0, the journey of identity and transformation with special guest Jesica Henderson. I'm so excited. She is an executive producer at the Transformation Talk Radio and the Dr. Pat Show. Her passion for learning led her to taking an internship with the Dr. Pat Show while pursuing an audio engineering degree. During that time, she fell in love with the idea of transforming the world through positive solution and has been in the network close to 14 years, which is incredible. So from intern to executive producer, there is no better person to chat through the meaning of identity and the inevitable process of transformation. Welcome, Jesica. I'm so happy to have you. I adore you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, great. Well, to kick us off, I really want to start off with, what does identity mean to you when you think about the times in your life where it's led to maybe needing to shed some pieces of who you are? Has there been a theme?
So of course we're going to start with the loaded question.
Always.
Um, I my honest, most shortest answer is I think identity is an illusion. And I'll tell you why I think that, because we often define identity as this, kind of surface level thing, like who am I today, right? And I feel like we take on what we think we should be. I think we take on what other people tell us we are. And then I think we take on these identities in these roles, like identity of intern, identity of executive producer, identity of wife, identity of, right? And all of that's just an illusion. And all of that is just based on the perspective and the circumstance and can get really, muddled. And so and then I'm going to contradict myself and say, I also feel like there's a deeper level identity of who we are. And that's like a soul level thing for me. And that also can shift and grow and evolve based on our belief systems in that time. And so that's my complicated roundabout answer to what I think identity is. And yes, I think there's themes in that. For me, what I've noticed is when I'm going through a shift in identity, it almost feels like this highs and low dips of, you go through this excitement, this new beginning, this new thing, but then there's also sometimes a loss associated with it, a loss of that part of yourself, or right. And so it's a really interesting kind of wave to ride. And at least for me, it's always been, sometimes it's a high and really low. And sometimes it's just kind of like a chill riding the wave, but it's always has those identities to it.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. One of the most powerful kind of experiences I had in my shamanic training was actually removing the labels I'd put on, in my time as a human being and actually burning them in a fire. And I think identity, kind of the service level identity you were talking about, is more of those labels, those I am this, I am that, I am student, I am teacher, whatever it is. But our core identity, our values, I think is a huge part of it, right? And the things that make us intrinsically us.
Mm-hmm.
They may shift over time or get more refined, but the values that I had, in my early 20s, the values I have now, hopefully the values I'll have in my 70s, I don't see much change in them because it's kind of core to me. And
Yeah.
yet the outside packaging, of course, is going to change
Yeah.
in many different ways.
I've forgotten sometimes, though. I'll be honest, I've forgotten my identity sometimes. And those have been times of great like depression or grief or, like frustration or, whatever, like some maybe traumatic events, like I've forgotten my identity sometimes. And so finding your way back to that, I think, is just that healing process that we go through.
No, that is so true. There was a time when I was 26, a full year, I was really, really struggling. And there have been other times, of course, being a human being, many times of struggle. But, yeah, it is. And it's very disorienting when it's not a positive experience. It's perhaps a very challenging and negative experience to do that shedding and to do that kind of process of going, okay, maybe things have been removed from my life. Maybe I've removed things from my life, and like the rebuild of identity, yeah, is heavy, and it as it should be, it's foundational and incredibly important.
Yeah, agreed.
When we think about kind of those times when it's a 2.0, which may be a little lighter, right? I think there's the bucket of foundational, which I absolutely want to explore more, but to kind of ease us into the topic, that idea of our 2.0 and how we think about, our upgrades. And there's so many people right now that are doing that in their work life. They're doing that across the board and, how they show up in the world. Do you have, some tips that you could share about, when you've noticed it's time for your personal 2.0?
I I feel like there, so this comes kind of to mindfulness, right? And recognizing things in yourself and in your environment. And for me, oftentimes there's this restless excitement. So like when it's, an expansive, and like I love the word upgrade to a 2.0, I feel like there's usually starting with this kind of restlessness and maybe not always being able to define why or where it's coming from right away. And so like for me, things show up and I'm like feeling the need to rearrange my furniture or just like I look at my closet and I'm like, I don't love anything I'm looking at, or right. Or even, like just this urge to like try new things. And so those are the things I think to recognize. And so if you're mindful of it, then you kind of have this awareness and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm coming up on a 2.0 thing here.
Yeah, so the uncomfortability, the thought of like, do I like that food now? I've done that. I'm like, I've had my like tried and trues, and I'm like, well, actually, do I like that food? Do I like that music? Have I really sat with it at a deeper level to see? And sometimes you're like, it's not a favorite, but it's tolerable. And other times you're like, actually, it's not that bad, or this is a new favorite,
Mhm.
and that's really beautiful to explore. So the idea of, seeing where your new edges are at, is a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we think about that kind of foundational change, right, the rebuilding of brick by brick, um, is there a place when you've kind of come back from those low points? Is it media that helps you, like, or music, or is there something kind of external to you that's been really helpful to kind of anchor you in as you start that process?
So, of course, the silly, obvious thing that is not this network. I can't tell you
Okay.
how many
Yeah.
times I've been able to like go to a resource or a host or a show or something that I've been like, oh, okay, this can kind of reframe my mindset, because honestly, everything's energy, everything's our mindset. Like we create this. And so it's getting myself out of that whatever you're in the lower valley part of the thing, whether it's, self-sabotage, whether it's, I tend to be really hard on myself. And so just finding something to shift that is for me, yes, going and hearing other people, hearing inspiration, hearing stories, hearing things that are just kind of almost validating and relatable, like, oh, okay, so it's normal to have these valleys in life and I don't have to be so hard on myself about it. And it's being able to go back upward quicker. And, so in the moment though, I mean, I had to do this last night. I had a just like, I was not, like mini moments, right? But I was
Right.
just not motivated. I had three things on my plate I needed to get done, and they were kind of non negotiables, but every bone in my body didn't want to do it. So I just turned on some music and I gave myself like a 10-minute dance party. And it shifted everything for me. And I was like, oh, like completely different energy, completely different motivation. And then I went and did those three things and I was good to go.
I
And it's
love
like I
that.
switched people
Yeah.
just from that.
No, I love that so much. Sometimes that's spark of hope, and for me, sometimes it's ice cream, which I don't love food as like a reward or anything like that. But like sometimes you're just like, you know what? Like I want something tangible that's like whether it's a dance party or something to feel like this energy is different and I want some fun and I want sprinkles and I want that childlike energy in whatever format, to recapture that. Um, yeah, I was trying to think for myself. We're filming this a little bit early and we're in this beautiful new moon energy, which is in new moon in Scorpio, which is kind of that perfect time to talk about, coming from the depths of hell, truly, you know. So I know it'll be a little bit before this airs, but I call that out because the energy I think surrounding us currently, where we're very much in that excavation point still, we're not in that fun season of the holidays and the parties and the this and the that. We're still living in that kind of ancestral healing. And sometimes that identity, maybe wasn't even parts of it something that we agreed to, but was forced upon us, and it's those removals I found really, really challenging.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's where just if I could offer advice to
Please.
anyone on that is to don't do that alone.
Mm,
I mean, even if, have somebody to confide in and talk to, or, professional support and help in some way, because that stuff is hard to do by yourself.
very much so. Yeah. The other way that we've talked about kind of anchor pieces, and I don't want it to sound fluff at all because it's not. I think fashion is one of the things that I've consistently used as a tool in my life to kind of anchor in that new version of me. And so when you think about kind of your change, your recent change in fashion, if you want to kind of talk through your experience, and I'd love to share some of my own.
Yes, I love this. And to your point, so, when I say I don't want it to have a negative thing to say things are like surface level, because I think the surface and the deeper things go together hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So, like to your point, like I have this inner part of me that has wanted to, so it kind of started as a catalyst on my birthday in October. And I just had that stirring, that restlessness, and that feeling of like, I'm ready for a 2.0. And what does that mean to me? And internally, energetically, what that meant to me is more confidence, more going after things that I want to go after, being seen and heard in ways that I've maybe been afraid to in the past. Really cleaning up like in my life in terms of boundaries and what I'm putting into my life. So I was talking to a friend about this actually on my birthday, and it was one of those like, if it's not a hell yes, then I think it's a no for me. Right. And how that comes out on the outside, on the surface level, the first thing for me was how I'm showing up in my clothes, in my fashion, and how I want to portray myself in the 3D real world. And so this jacket, to people that are watching, this jacket came from that because I got it at a thrift store, and it showed up, and I was like, every part of me was like, yes, this jacket. Like it has to me it portrays the like not being afraid to be seen with the colors and the vibrancy, and it has like, it just, I feel good and confident and excited and joyful in this jacket. And so it's as silly as it might seem, it's has very deep, powerful meaning to me. And so it was the catalyst to then looking at wardrobe in general and going like, okay, what are the things for me that are going to make me feel on the outside the way, or the way my insides are feeling right now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason it's called a statement piece, right? It's an opportunity for conversation. It's an opportunity for you to express yourself, visually how you feel on the inside. And especially when we're doing that anchoring work where we're still figuring out, it's not quite like as easy. You're still trying to understand like what feels good and what's maybe just okay. And to have that where your posture changes, your whole being lights up with, something you're wearing or, whatever it is. And that's just a beautiful experience to have that tangible item, that talisman, available to you.
Yeah. What's yours?
So currently mine is a beautiful, and I should have worn it. It was just a little warm today, but it's a beautiful black and purple faux fur that's a cropped jacket. And so, what I love about it is I picked it up with my dear best friend when I was visiting her in Denver recently. And it was just that piece that I went, if I, had the ability to wear whatever I wanted to every day, that's what I would wear. And like, not even 2 months later, I'm no longer in the corporate world and I get to wear whatever the hell I want at all times. And I'm very much like when I do keynotes, like, how do I show up? What is that brand? And so I've been playing with both this like fairy princess energy and I love this like metal kind of doll energy, like very metal show. I love my boots. I love, like leather pants and that vibe. And I feel like there's these two facets of my personality, which is that very like push pull that I'm able to express and wear, and have a look when I want to. And I need more confidence. I'll wear some of the darker colors. And when I want to show up open-hearted, I can use clothes. I love to show that. But yeah, in that like fearless energy, that jacket is everything. We're just like, I could, go to a show that has like a ton of people that are just a very different energy, like hard metal, or I can, just be out on the streets of New York where I love to be.
Yeah, I love that.
Thanks. But it's really fascinating. And then, that one piece, I'm like, oh, there's some bags that would look good with it. You know what I mean? Like it really starts to be like, okay, like where are some places that I need to remove some items, donate some items, rehome some things, perhaps in my friend group or wherever, and then call in that new energy. Because often when I start to look at things, I'm like, oh, that really, I don't know who I thought I was when I purchased that or it was given to me, but that's not it.
Yes, exactly. And giving ourselves permission to change and evolve, right? And there could be an argument for like wastefulness and blah blah blah, but like there's also just in our experience as people, all of the things on our outer world are going to reflect the inner world. And so I just love the fact that this whole thing of identity can shift and grow and evolve and be okay in the in between, because that's where I am. I haven't fully defined who my 2.0 is yet.
Same.
I'm in the middle of it. And oftentimes I feel like we hear from people like the before and then the after. And so it's an interesting space to be in discussion in the middle of it.
Very much so, especially because we still feel the loss, right? And we're right at that point, that tipping point where it's like you almost want to go back in your shell. Like you almost do
Yeah.
because we know it's easier, but like that is not right for you. Like, we're at 51, 52%. So it's like that little bit of extra work and you're like, oh.
It's so true. And that's a message to anyone going through these things. It may not always feel easy. It may not always feel exciting, but there are moments of all of that. And so it's just like remembering that and remembering, the excitement that we had about the 2.0 to begin with, even if it got scary.
I've also found it's been beautiful to spend time with different people when I'm mid-shed. So for instance, I was at this dinner in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was so lovely when I was kind of talking about recent events in my life and my new identity. And they were just so open-hearted and gave congratulations to the point I was like, I feel like I got less congratulations at my wedding than I did when I was like, I'm a full-time founder and entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Just the way people light up and are so excited for you and a journey. And it's been really interesting. And I'm sure you've had those experiences as you kind of are embracing a new identity where that there one or two people even and you're like thank you I needed to hear the exact message you're saying to me.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's like these mini cheerleaders that come into your life when you just open yourself up to new people, new opportunities, new experiences, and then are willing to be open about where you're at and like really that deeper level connection with people. And
Mm.
then these cheerleaders or show up in your life, that you maybe didn't expect or expect in that way. And it's just confirming, like, oh, okay, here we go. We're doing this.
Right? And you're like, I can't let them down, now that it's outside of your own brain,
Yeah.
which is really helpful because our close friends and family, though, of course, they support us to varying levels. Sometimes you just need a stranger that's just like, oh, fully enthusiastic about your change and like what's happening with you.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
That's beautiful. Well, I am so excited for some changes that the Transformation Network is going through, and it's coming into its own 2.0 and its own shift. And so, can you talk to me about what that journey's been, and what we can expect over the next few months?
Yes, it has been. I've been using the word whirlwind because there's so many things about it from what the outside world sees, from new websites to new players to new apps to ways to connect and communicate with hosts. And all of that is super exciting and such an upgrade. And there is an energy to that, right? There's an energy to how we show up and what we're putting in the world and how accessible we're making it. And we've already started to see some of that come through just in terms of the traffic of the website, which is really exciting. And then at the same time, with any upgrade, there's chaos and stress and things that come from, especially when you're working with technology. And so that's been the kind of thing for me, is to remain grounded and calm and okay that, oopsie, this thing didn't work quite the way you thought it would, but it'll be fine because we can fix it, those types of moments. And it's funny because it's weird that personally and professionally to be going through these two things at once, and the two kind of go together in a lot of ways. And so, really, it's just a beautiful time to be sharing a message in the world. And that's part of me too, like being more visible with my own show and my own thoughts and things on the network and outside of the network, because it's just, it's time. It's time for all of us to do this on the scale that we want to do it. And that network is providing that for people. And so over the coming months, there's just so many new things happening, like membership opportunities and new ways to feature content and on demand and videos, and um, a lot to be revealed, let's say, in terms of how we can really connect and communicate with each other as a community.
That's beautiful. Two thoughts I don't want to forget. One is that the caliber of hosts since being mid-shed, or like since the shedding has started, I feel like has increased. We've always had incredible hosts on the network, but I'm so excited about the new class that's come in the last like 2 to 3 months. Truly exceptional and so cool.
It's fun to, and that's one of the things too, like behind the scenes to the rest of the public, like we're going to be doing more like connecting internally as a community. And that's so powerful when we come together, because we all have this shared mission. The way we go about it and the businesses and all those things are different, but there is this shared collective mission for human potential and personal development and growth and transformation. And so it's just really cool when all that comes together and people get to share ideas and network and create together.
It really is. And I think I thank you for that point about, when you're going through your personal shift and, your workplace is also doing the same. I think it might be, and, correct me, I think that's actually nicer and easier because like when I've been done a full shift and then I go in to the same place that's changed none and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go." You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like there have been some places like it's beautiful any relationship that's able to grow with you, even if you're at a little bit different points in the shed or it's a little bit chaotic and messy. That's so great to have that kind of shared energy, and it not be kind of off cycle where you're like, okay, I just went through a transformation and now, 6 months later you're doing it. Oh man, like it's too soon for that energy.
I never thought about it that way because I was so focused on like the kind of chaos of it all, right? But that's so true. I didn't really think about it that way till just now. So thank you for that, because you're right. It is beautiful and amazing to be evolving as a person and as a business at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah, and I'm so excited. Like the guests that you've had on your show have been just so lovely and incredible and profound. Like their messages that they've been sharing, and I love that you're going to be more visible and kind of showing in more of that anchored Jessica 2.0, which is just so inspiring, I think, for everyone. I think there's so much chaos many of us are dealing with across the board, and so just to have that message of hope that wherever you are in your journey of like, feeling that little tug, or if you're mid shed, or if you're like truly like I got nothing left to give, kind of at the end of it, and maybe that energetic high hasn't kicked in yet. I know I've been there. There's that
Yep.
little dip right before.
Yes. Yes. And that's that. It's like, I think about it in terms of like racing and running and like cross
Mhm.
country, because I did cross country and I wasn't good at it by any means. But there's that like before the end of the race, before you get to like that final sprint before the end of the race, you're like, can I even do this? And
Yeah.
then it's like somebody's like, the finish line is right there. And then it's all that is a mindset shift and your body kicks into gear with you. It's kind of the same thing, I think, in the shedding in the 2.0. It's like there's that moment where you're like, can I actually do this?
Mm.
And it's like you got to be able to like see and visualize the finish line and get yourself there.
Definitely. Yeah, that beautiful relationship of adrenaline and mindset, right?
Yeah,
When one starts to not be as helpful, you got to have, kind of that equal balance there to help take over.
exactly.
That's awesome. Jessica, where can the audience find you? And if you want to talk about any, upcoming shows you have or recent guests you've adored.
Yes, I have. You can find me at thepossibilityperspective.com. And I do um, put all my podcasts up there. You can find me on the Transformation Network or Transformation Talk Revolution as well. And you can find me on all the social media platforms. I've had a few great guests. By the time this airs, my most recent episode will be one with a sales and marketing coach, which she's got a beautiful take on building and creating relationships online that I think gets lost a little bit. So that's a great one to check out for any entrepreneur, really.
That's gorgeous. Yeah, especially I got my first CRM yesterday. And so I mentioned that because like I'm not a girl that I one of the identities I've shed is that I'm not good at sales. And so I've
Mm.
been someone that, there's an invitation to work with me, and it's been a little more receptive feminine energy, and I've been moving into the more like masculine energy of like, no, we can talk about his leads and like different things, and kind of owning that, and like I could do this in very assertive energy, but I love that no matter what, connections at the heart of it, right? And
Mhm.
being of service to others, and like not losing that no matter what method you're using to try to grow your business and what you're doing.
Totally. One note on that for everyone and you too is you are doing a disservice by not being in your power in that arena and offering yourself to the world because you have so much to give. And I mean, I've experienced you personally. And so you're amazing. And so I'm excited for your 2.0 also.
Oh, thank you. Yes, sales baddie. That's what I'm trying to call it. Like, truly. Oh, thank you so, so much for being here. I so appreciate you. And thank you to the audience for watching Musings and Modalities with me, your shaman with an MBA. Tune in the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for more fabulous episodes. Exclusive for my listeners, you can use code MUSINGS for 15% off any session with me, and that includes my Reiki, deep shamanic healing 90-minute sessions, and my life-changing birth chart sessions, of which yesterday I sold two in 20 minutes. So I was like, okay, sales baddie, we're going. So thank y'all so much for listening. You've been listening to Musings and Modalities with me, Tristen, your pragmatic shaman bestie. For more powerful healing tools, join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I cover a variety of topics to meet you wherever you are at on your spiritual journey. Learn techniques to work with pendulums, past life healing, astrology, and more. Please share the show and subscribe for more guidance from your pragmatic shaman bestie at musingsandmodalities.com.